We're just driving down the road.
Right after a nice beach walk. We just got a pressure washer for free. Does not start. That's okay. We have a mechanic.
I don't think it's gonna fit.
Oh, heckin'.
I'm just gonna close the trunk on it and we'll drive it to the house.
Luckily, we're not very far from home, so it's okay. It'll stay in there. Pressure washers are useful in general, but we actually need a pressure washer for doing the sandblasting in the chain locker and stuff. So if Logan can get this working, then it'll be perfect for doing that. So that's exciting. I'm Taryn, this is Logan, and this is Max. Our life rarely goes as planned, and this story is no different. But we are determined to rebuild our beautiful steel boat, even stronger than she was before. And we're bringing you along with us. You're probably wondering why on earth we need a sandblaster. And the answer is that in order for paint to adhere properly to steel, the steel needs a specific texture and needs to be extremely clean. And the easiest way to get that texture and cleanliness is to sandblast. But it's also really expensive to hire someone to do it. So after seeing Project Brupeg build their own sandblaster for their giant steel project, we decided to follow suit and build one as well. The Wet Sandblaster consists of 4 main components: a water source, a pressure washer, an air compressor with an air drying chamber, and a sand tank. Sounds simple enough, right? But each part was a struggle on its own to get figured out. The water was the easiest part. We had water access right at the shop with plenty of pressure and hoses, so we knew that wasn't going to be an issue. The pressure washer, on the other hand, was another story. The one that we found on the side of the road, despite Logan getting it up and running, was too small for the job we had to do.
It's a pretty low volume and lower pressure than what we need. It says here that it's 2,900 psi at 2.5 gallons per minute. And I think the Wet Blaster nozzle was rated for 5,500 psi at 10 gallons per minute. So not sure it would have worked the greatest. So I think we're gonna try to borrow or repair a power washer that's here that's a 3,500 psi at 4 gallons per minute. That should be enough to do it.
So he took apart the pump on a currently not running pressure washer of the correct size to see if it could be fixed to do the job.
Well, I drained the oil out of it because I was going to pull the back off. There's something funky with the one plunger. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's a skiff of oil on top. But that's mostly water. So that's not a very good sign that this is salvageable. Well, the good news is I was able to get it apart. The bad news is I found some broken parts. So this is what it's supposed to look like. And this is what it does look like. Unfortunately, I do not think that this is going to be cost effective to repair. Yeah, I think we're going to call that one a fail. I think it's going to be more expensive to fix it than it is to buy a new one. Okay, scrap that plan. GoPro, stop recording. Well, another day trying to get a power washer to work. So, found this power washer head, or pump, that's been sitting dormant for I don't know how long. Apparently it was rebuilt who knows how long ago. Like quite a long time, 20 years maybe. Got this power washer all strapped down to the bench, hooked it up to an electric motor just to test it. The electric motor wasn't physically, it was only 1.5 horse, so it wasn't big enough to actually power it well enough. And was only about half of the speed that or less than half the speed that this thing needs to build pressure. I built up to 2000 psi with this thing, so I know it can build pressure. The old pump, which is now right there, yeah, so it ran direct drive off of this Honda motor, actually on this cart and everything. So what I did was I unbolted the motor because now it's going to be facing a different direction, and I just made sure everything was gonna kind of fit on here.
Logan needed to attach different pulleys to make sure everything spun at the right speed with the new pump. He also had to rearrange some things on the cart to make everything fit and work properly.
And that's that. It's on there. Motor's bolted down. Now we just have to make a mount for this guy. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but it's just below 0 and raining, but it starts snowing every once in a while. Not a very inspiring day for working. It's freezing cold. I didn't put my long johns on today because I thought I'd be in the shop. That was a mistake. So anyways, I found this, which is a piece of a Chevy truck frame, I believe, but it measures exactly what we need. Well, not exactly, but it'll work. So I'm just gonna cut a section of that. This is to build the mount for the pump so that it can be adjusted.
Along with the mount, Logan welded on an adjuster to make sure he could move the pump to change the belt tension. And it worked! The third component we had to figure out was the compressor. There's a large compressor in Logan's uncle's shop, so we were able to use that. But we needed the air to be drier than it was coming out of the compressor in order for it to mix with the sand without causing problems.
I've been looking around for air dryers, and I remember watching another YouTube channel, Project Brupeg. They have probably by far the best like videos on how they've done stuff, and it's been really helpful actually for what we're doing. Both steel boats, but they've built a Wet Sandblaster, which we're looking at doing, and had issues with water getting in through the compressor, through the compressed air because of condensation. So he made like an air tank, a separate air tank, into air dryer, so the air comes in from the other tank, hits the side, goes to the bottom, and then your dry air line comes off of the top. So I've copied that. It's up on the mezzanine right now because that also helps. Slowing the velocity of the water droplets before they get into the tank. So trying to get it all to settle down to the bottom, and I needed to get that built before we tested the plasma because it needs dry air or it will damage the machine.
Good to know.
So yeah, it's kind of not really set up properly right now, but it's up there and it works. So this is our Brupeg inspired air dryer. It's kind of just sitting here for right now, but hey, it's good. So this is the air line coming in. There's a great big compressor down in the room over there. So our air line's coming in, and it shoots straight across, and the water should technically hit the other side of the tank and all fall to the bottom, or most of it anyway. That's the idea.
Okay.
And then we have an air line coming out of the top that goes to our work, and I have it laced over through the rafters to the boat. I just have a regulator on here to drop the air pressure down for working for like our air tools and stuff like that. I like to run like the needle gun and stuff at a lower pressure. Otherwise they just kind of self-destruct. Because the air pressure, or the compressor is about 180 psi.
Okay.
And like the working pressure of most air tools is 90.
So like double if it comes straight out of the tank.
Yeah, just about. So, and this is just an old tank out of a logging truck or a highway truck, I don't even know. Something that was kicking around, and we put a bunch of fittings on it, and then it's got a drain on the bottom, so every once in a while I just drain it off and see how much moisture it's picking up. But so far it's been really good, even though it's like, it's so humid here right now that there's moisture on everything.
Yeah, it's been foggy all day.
And it's just, it's the way it is here. Moisture is always an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can see my breath right now. It's always hovering just above 0 degrees or whatever.
That's not even from that though, that's just from such high humidity because it's probably 10 degrees out right now. Somewhere between 5 and 10 degrees.
Yeah, it is kind of warm, isn't it?
It's pretty warm out.
The sun just about came out a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I can see my shadow, but it's the light.
Yeah, not from the sun.
Yeah. But, yeah, so that's it. Air dryer.
Lastly was getting the sandblasting tank together, which luckily didn't take much work as there was one kicking around.
There we go.
So what is this?
I went through this already.
Not on camera, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a Sandblaster. It's a homemade unit. And it hasn't been used in a long, long time. Like probably 20 years. It's just been sitting here derelict. And it's fallen over and stuff's broken, and I got the cap off and I looked in there and it's like 2/3 full
A sand?
of the sand. Like
Oh, it is too. Crazy.
the black iron whatever slag sand.
Is that what we want? That's not what we want.
Yeah, it is.
Is it? We want...
I don't know if
iron
it's
in it?
mixed with something else, so we'll probably end up having to dump it all out, but
Huh.
because it might be mixed with silica sand, I just don't know.
That's cool.
I think it is just black sand though. Like, yeah, it is. It's really cool. So the inside of the tank should be solid and good because it's all dry in there. The sand's all dry, everything. It looks really good. I'm actually super surprised because this has been sitting outside for, like I said, 20 years or so.
Yeah, that's insane. Must be pretty thick, that tank, hey?
Yeah, it's a big, heavy tank. It really is. It's kind of a cool thing to refurbish and get going again and turn into a dustless blaster. So we've got a hose, we've got 2 nozzles that we're going to try to modify for our dustless blaster. And then on the bottom of this tank, like I hooked it all up yesterday and pressured it up, and it's got a few leaks in the fittings.
Right.
So we're just gonna have to take this all apart and re-solder the copper fittings and possibly change out. The ball valves seem to be worn out, which it happens, so we'll probably just order some like bulk ball valves. Yeah, like this ball valve here doesn't really do anything.
But it's supposed to, or?
It's supposed to, and this one doesn't really do anything, and the one on the bottom doesn't really do anything. So they're all just kind of in various stages of not doing anything.
Meaning they need to be repaired?
Yeah, replaced.
Okay, replaced. Fair enough.
So the air comes in here,
Okay.
and it goes on top of the sand and pushes the sand out the bottom.
Okay.
Out of this T. Well, it's a cross
Okay.
piece here. The air also comes down this pipe
Okay.
and into the end of the T here. And the pressurized sand and the pressured air mix and go out the line.
Okay.
And that's what shoots it out the nozzle. And then there's, of course, there's a drain in the bottom, so if you get a big piece of something in there, you can open it up and jam a stick in there.
Nice.
Those are technical terms.
Jammy stick.
Yep.
We bought a new nozzle and hose for it, cleaned some fittings, and it was good to go. Then it was finally time to test out all of the hard work. What are you doing, Logie?
Gonna try out the Dustless blaster, I think. That's the plan.
That is the old side of the hull. The compressed air was attached to the back of the sand tank, and the water hose was attached to the pressure washer. And then the two hoses from the sand tank and the pressure washer were connected.
That's a power washer. That's gonna feed us our water. That is a sandblaster. That's gonna feed us our sand. And they're going to mix in that nozzle and come out and hopefully dustless blast some stuff. There we go.
It died. What do you think? How does it look?
It looks awesome.
Yeah? That's what you were hoping for?
It is better than what I was hoping for.
Really?
That was literally 10 seconds.
Yeah, that was quick, hey?
Yeah.
You have a lot of power in that thing.
This thing has got an insane amount of power. It makes a lot more of a mess than I thought it would.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we built this dustless blasting system because we're not able to dry blast because of the dust. It's just too much work, it's too hard, and it'll pretty much cover everything in dust.
Oh, a camera? Oh, I'll come get attentions. I'll come on camera.
So then I made this short power washer nozzle with a quick connect on it. And then we sourced one of these in Canada, but it's basically the same one as Damien from Project Brupeg is using. I think they're all made by the same person, or the same outfit, but anyways. So that's our short little blasting nozzle, and we made it nice and short because we're gonna have to go up inside the chain locker and get around things. So it's got to be able to be put into weird tight places.
Yep.
Basically, and holy cow does it work. I mean, it took that off in seconds.
Next week we will actually sandblast the chain locker and put this blaster through its real tests. Thanks so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and leaving us a comment. We try to read and reply to all of them. And if you would like to see what we're up to in real time, we would love to have you over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month.